Hey everyone, Mike Burke here with InsideRealEstatePhotography.com. So I've been asked a lot lately about my process for editing my interior real estate images, so I thought I'd make this video and dive into that process and show you exactly how it's done. Alright guys, so this image on the screen is what we'll be editing today. So I'm going to show you how to get to this point here. This is the finished image. The process goes the same for pretty much any image that I edit. So yeah, you could apply it to any interior image. Really, my process is the same. Go to Lightroom here first. So I have 5 brackets here. I'm shooting 5 brackets, 2 stops apart. These are JPEGs. I find JPEGs to be sufficient. A lot of people ask why I don't shoot RAW, because the file sizes are huge and it clogs up my hard drives. And for this particular thing, the JPEGs, they serve me fine, but by all means, if you want to shoot RAW, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. So the first thing I'm going to do here is we're going to select all of these brackets, and I'm going to just right click or control click, and then I'm going to go to edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. We're going to be hand blending all these together. That's how you get the high-end quality look to it. Now, I know I've gone through in like my real estate photography basics video and certain things like that about merging your HDRs in Lightroom, and that's a much faster process. Obviously, the result is not as good. It's not as high-end. It's not as clean. You know, it has an HDR look to it, which means it's a little flat looking. It's a little lacking life and contrast when you merge them, but you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. You know, you can certainly make a business off of, you know, just doing it that way. But this is a much higher end look. It takes more time, obviously, but I think it's worth it in the end. And I edit all my images this way personally, unless it's, you know, a flash flambient thing. And I'll get into that in future videos. So now I have my 5 brackets loaded here in Photoshop, each as a layer. It's sort of a few step process. First is blending, then I'll do some color corrections, then I'll do my windows, and then I'll take it back into Lightroom and do any final tweaks and edits, and then export from there. So what I usually do to start is I'll take this 3rd one and I'll bring it to the top, and I'm just going to do an initial basic blend of these two. So first thing first, I'm just going to add a layer mask. I'm going to go option click on the layer mask so it fills it with black and hides it. So now that I have that, I'm going to take my brush with the B, hit the B key, and I'm going to take a large brush, make it very large, and then what you want to do is you want to make sure you have hard brush, hardness 100%, and then I want my opacity to be 30%. I'm just going to do an initial little blend here. I'm just going to, you want to make sure you have white selected, so that way when you paint on this black mask, it will show through. So I'm just going to run over this and just do an initial blend here of these two just by running over this. That's already given a little bit of a blend. Now I'm going to change my brush to a soft round brush, the hardness around 25% or so. And I'm going to put my opacity back to 100%. And I'm going to change my flow to 5%. I'm going to show you guys all this, you know, without using any Photoshop actions, but I have a bunch of actions that I use to speed this process up, and I'm going to go into that maybe in my next video just to show you how that's done. But I wanted to, you know, do this step by step, showing you exactly what I'm doing without using any actions, so you understand how this is done. And then I'll do another video on actions and how you can speed this up a little bit. So look out for that soon. All right, so now I have my soft brush, flow 5%, and I'm just gonna go around now and start painting in areas that I wanna brighten up a little bit. Continue blending this here. The ceiling for sure. Go around painting here until you have, you know, a blend and an exposed image that you like. It's not really a right or wrong answer here. It's just to taste, blend to taste. And if you want to reverse anything, maybe you went too far, you would just, you know, hit X and switch back to black over here. And you know, you could paint back in, so like if you wanted to darken that back down. So you know, you can go back and forth between white and black. All right, I like this. That's actually pretty good. I don't really know if I need to use any of the other brackets for blending. Let's see what we have here. So this is a darker bracket. This is the darkest bracket. We'll use this probably for the windows here. But I'm gonna take this second darkest one here and bring this to the top. Again, I'm gonna option click on the layer mask icon here, hide that. And I'm just gonna maybe go over these down here where the light's coming in the window here, just to darken this down just a tad. You know, it depends on the image. Sometimes you need these other brackets, sometimes you don't. For this, I think our blend is pretty much good. Now that our blend's good, we're done with these layers, so we can just merge these down. So I'm gonna select these 3 layers here that are blended, and I'm just gonna hit Command E, which will merge them together. So now they're all in one layer here. So now our next step is going to be color correcting this. And what I mean by that is we wanna make this image look clean. So we have, you know, all our whites here. We have any of these color casts from the lights. See, this is looking yellow, dingy. And on the ceiling, you know, we want to make our whites look white. You know, all this trim is looking yellowy, orangey, and it just doesn't give our image a very clean look. So this is a very important step in my opinion. I'm just gonna, with my merged layer here selected, I'm just gonna hit Command J and duplicate that layer. And now what I'm gonna do is go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and I'm just gonna bring the saturation way down on this. About there, might add some lightness. So we're just looking at the whites now. We're looking at the ceiling, we're looking at the cabinets, we're looking at the trim, and we want to make it all look white. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm not concerned about the rest of the image, and that's pretty white. I'm gonna hit OK, and you know what? I'm gonna do another round because this is still looking yellowy here. So I'm gonna go to this little tool here, and I'm gonna select on here, and it's gonna show, you know, we got yellows here. And I'm just gonna bring the saturation down more on these yellows here, even more. And try to get these cabinets looking very white. So, all right, now we're looking pretty white. Looks like I got rid of most of the yellow here. Now we have this desaturated layer, and what I'm gonna do again is hit Option, click on the layer mask, add layer mask, and again, that's gonna hide that. So now what we have to do here is we're gonna go over all these white parts and mask them in, so we have clean whites. So I'm going to start with the ceiling here. I'm going to hit L for my polygonal lasso tool. And I'm just going to go around here at the ceiling, make a selection. All this trim here. You know, we're going to go over these cabinets too. I don't have to be like super perfect here. So I'm going to come through here and do some fine detail, but I'm just getting a general selection here of the ceiling. Alright, so now we have our ceiling selected. Now we want to make sure white is our background color, because if when we cut this, it's going to show through to the background. So, you know, you want to make sure your mask is selected, white background color. And also I'm just going to go to select and then modify feather. I'm just going to feather this by 1 pixel. And I'm just going to hit Command X to cut. All right, and now you see our ceiling now has, you know, the desaturated layer behind it showing through. So we have more of a clean white. Take all the yellow and orange out of it. The only problem is now, you know, we cut the fan out here, so I'm gonna hit W, which is, you know, the quick selection tool. And I'm just gonna select these parts here. Again, we're not caring about the metal parts because we want those to stay desaturated. And now we want to make sure we hit X and switch to black, because we want to change this back to what it was. We want the foreground color back in. So I'm just going to hit X, and now you see, you know, you get those get those wood tones showing back through here now on the fan. So I want to do these blades as well. And again, guys, like I'm just illustrating this process to you. Like I might not get as detailed as I normally would when I'm editing, because I'm just showing you the process. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just want to show you how this is done. All right, so now we have our fan blades cut out. That looks good. All right, so I'm not a big fan of how this light is spilling over onto the fan here. I'm just gonna get rid of it. Just gonna take my clone stamp tool, go over this here. And it's just gonna remove on our blended layer. Need a soft brush here. And this is fine because now it took the color out of it too, so it's looking better. You know, this line isn't perfect, obviously, but you know, you can get nitpicky here. I'm just showing you how I go about doing these things. That's fine for now. It's not that noticeable. So now we have our ceiling cut out. So now let's deal with, you know, the rest. We have cabinets here, all this other white stuff that's yellow and dingy. So let's zoom in here. I'm going to do something about this refrigerator. I don't like this orange stuff going on here. So again, I'm gonna take my lasso tool. Just gonna go around this fridge. Going to feather this a little bit by a pixel or so, and then all right, so I'm just going to make sure I have white as my background color here and make sure my mask is selected, and then I'm just going to cut that. So there we go, the orange is gone now. All right, so now we're going to get into our cabinets here and start taking the orange out of this. You know, you can use obviously the lasso tool here, brush. I'm going to use a brush here, and so I'm just going to make sure my brush is, you know, soft. I'm going to bring my hardness up to like 95 or so, and then opacity 100. I'm going to bring my flow up to 100. And now I want to make sure I have white selected since I'm painting on my black layer mask here, and then it's going to show through. And now you can just paint over all this stuff here. Now this is looking a little gray actually. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do an adjustment here. I'm just going to select a layer, and I'm going to go to adjustments, curves. Just going to boost the mids here a bit. Bring the white up a little bit on these. That's good. So it's looking a little gray, so I want to correct that. All right, now back to our brush. Oops, make sure our layer mask is selected. And yeah, I'm just gonna start going over all this stuff here. Obviously, like this plate, all this stuff that has color in it, we want to keep. You know, like I got a little over this, but again, you just change your color back to black, and then you can get the color back in on this crab here. This is someone's shore house, vacation house. Must be nice. Switch back to white. Continue painting this in. again, like I'm just kind of showing you guys this process. I'm not gonna get too super detailed here, but and again, you could use a lasso tool to cut these out, quick selection tool. These are all tools you can use to do this kind of stuff. For this, just kind of feel, I kind of just like going in with the brush and just going through. Oops. The wrong button there. Go over these lights as well. Over this hood, everything here. This backsplash. See how, you look when you're close, like how dingy this looks. I mean, how orangey and gross looking. So this makes a huge impact on your image and how clean it looks. Really, can't stress that enough. Alright, I'm gonna get my lasso tool here for this. I'm just gonna go around this window. Again, we're not worried about the outside here because we're gonna be replacing, masking in our view, so we don't care about what that looks like. Now here, obviously we have the wall color here. I'm just going to try to reduce this a bit I'm just gonna put my flow back down real low and kind of just go brush over this. I'm not gonna like completely go overboard with it. Something like that's good. All right, now we got these lower cabinet area here. Let's just go over that real quick. All right, so that's looking pretty good. You can see kind of where we're at here. See how much cleaner this is looking now. When I toggle this, you can see how much yellow and orange we've taken out of here. And it's looking a lot better. So we got these windows to do and these little trim down here, and then it should be good. So again, I'm just gonna do a quick selection here of the windows. We can just do all these at once. I'll go in in and fine tune anything with the brush if I need to. And I'm just gonna feather this with a pixel, make sure white is our background color. I'm just gonna cut that. So I cut all the windows at once. And we got this trim down here. Let's do that. Alright, so now we have all our whites color corrected. Again, here's the difference. Quite a difference. Alright, so now that we're done with our corrections here, I'm just going to now merge this layer down with the blended layer from before. So I'm just going to, again, Command E and merge these together. So now the next step we have to do is our windows. So I'm just going to bring the window layer up top. So this is our view for the windows, and how we're going to deal with this is a similar process. I'm just going to hit Option click on the layer mask so it'll hide it. Now I'm going to just zoom in here, get my polygonal lasso tool, and I'm just going to go around these windows, and I'm just going to go all the way down the line here to this corner. Take this all the way down the line here. I don't know what I was thinking. Connect with this one. Now, by hitting Option, you'll see the little minus icon come up with the lasso tool. So by holding Option and then just clicking, I'm just going to take away some of these selections. So now, if I go here, go down this way. So now it just took away this selection. Again, I gotta do that through the middle parts. Okay, so now we have all our windows selected in this row. I'm going to go to Select, Modify, Feather, just by a pixel. And again, we want to make sure white is our background color. So we did X, change that. Make sure our mask is selected. And I'm just going to hit Command X to cut. So now we're seeing through. Obviously, we have some work here to do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to take my brush tool. Again, I want to make sure I have white selected as my foreground color. And I want to have a soft brush, but pretty hard, 95%, that's good. Flow, 100%, good. And now I'm just going to go I'm sorry, I want black as my foreground color. Had that mixed up. So I'm just gonna click here once and then shift click down here. All that does is make sure it goes in a perfectly straight line. And again here. And again, again, for this little window lock, I'm just going to paint this in. Oops. So yeah. Now I'm just going to go down the line here and do all the rest. Alright, so now we have our windows masked in here, and now I'm just going to jump over to this kitchen window over here and to this one. So again, I'm going to use my lasso and I'm going to just go around this window here. Again, I'll clean the edges up with the brush. Just want to get the bulk of this out. So again, I'm going to go and select modify feather. I'm just going to cut that out. So now we have our window cut out, and I'm just going to get these crossbars in and everything. So again, I'm just going to zoom in, take my brush tool, click, shift click, shift click. Alright, so we got this little starfish thingy here, so let's paint that back in. Alright, so yeah, we have our windows masked in. Now, since the white balance is, balancing for inside the room here, the outside is a little too on the cool side, and it's a little too dark, too extreme of a window pull here. Looks a little unnatural. So I just want to make some adjustments to the scene going on out here. So what I'm going to do is, just make sure we have the actual layer selected, not the mask. And I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to camera raw filter. Again, we're concentrating on the view out the window, so the rest really doesn't matter here. So I'm going to bring the exposure up a tad. And the highlights down. Color temperature, I want to warm this up a little bit. A little vibrance for the sky. About it. I just wanted to exposure a little bit. So that's looking better. So I hit OK. And now made some adjustments to the scene out here. Alright, so overall that's good. Now we didn't use this bright layer, but I'm just going to delete that, and then now we're going to merge these layers. And I'm just gonna hit save. And now it's gonna bring our image back over to Lightroom, and we can make any final adjustments over here. So, all right, so here's our image in Lightroom. So now let's just make some final tweaks here. I'm going to first make sure my verticals are straight, so I'm just gonna hit vertical. And straighten my image out a little bit. And maybe a little exposure here. Highlights down. Shadows maybe up just a tad. Definitely gonna add clarity into this. Vibrance. Too much here, with a little vibrance, a little saturation. Whites. It's looking pretty good. So those are the adjustments we've made. Nothing, nothing too crazy here. We're just making some final tweaks here. And lastly, I'm going to add sharpening. Usually I do like 100. I think I'm pretty happy with this, guys. This looks pretty good. So finally, we will just go to export, and we'll export this out and have a look at the final image. Alright guys, so I hope this video gave you some good insight on how I edit my interior real estate images. I hope you can see the benefit of doing it this way over an HDR merge and seeing how much more control and how much more of a higher quality yield of an image you can get out of using this method. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you did find it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And also, if you're interested in any consulting services, getting looks behind the scenes, or being the first to know about new videos I have coming down the pipeline, please visit the link down in the description below. Thanks again so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again on the next one.